Welcome to Virtus the Veiled. As far as our opening hand goes, I think we can. Do we want to keep on this one? We've got Ransack the Lab. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. We've got some removal. We've got Crypt Gas we can work towards. And we've got Mox Opal. It's always nice to have that. A little bit of free mana. So hopefully we can find ourselves into a bunch of mana rocks on the battlefield. That'll kind of help us out. Push some of that gameplay. And our opponents on the play, so we're going to let them get this game started. So we're playing Virtus the Veiled. And if you're keeping score at home, it is officially clobbering time. We're getting ready to pop somebody in the head. It's not a pickaxe. I remember, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the name for it. I think, oh, there we go, hit some card draw. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I don't think it's a pickaxe, and I'll probably get a few comments on it. But we're going to be calling it a pickaxe because that's all I can remember. So we're playing Virtus the Veiled. We're going to be looking to pickaxe Jhoira over there. Partner with Gorm, excuse me, but Gorm's not here, Virtus, so get used to it. Death Touch, whenever Virtus deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. So that's it. We run into another swamp. Let's go swamp. And I guess at this point, let's just go for Ransack the Lab. We're going to be able to look at the top 3 cards of our library. Ooh, that Chrome Mox is going to be... yeah, I actually kind of want a lot of this. So one of them goes into our hand, the rest goes into the graveyard. So I think at this point, I think Chrome Mox is really going to help us out. So we're going to take Chrome Mox. We're going to put the rest of that stuff in the graveyard. It would have been nice to have, and actually we're going to go for Chrome Mox right now if we want to. Yeah, let's go and cast Chrome Mox. Let's go and exile. I think at this point... Let's go and exile Cryptghast. I know Cryptghast is going to give us extra swamp mana, but I think at this point I would just much rather just go ahead and get ahead on mana and then pass it over to our opponent. So playing against Jhoira, Weatherlight Captain. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. And it's not it's not Jhoira. If you're sitting there watching the video like, Jolt, did you mispronounce Jhoira as Jhoira? No, it's Jhoira. But yeah, the first time I recorded with Jhoira, I pronounced it Jhoira, and I got like 800 comments to let me know, like, hey. It's like, okay, yeah, you got it. I missed that one up. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to be Gorm over there and stand next to Virtus, head on over to MTGOTraders. We'll let you kind of partner up, put that shield on, and it's always fun. Just make sure you don't die. That's pretty important. Don't want that to happen. And let's go ahead and have Swamp come down. Now, we can go for Ancient Tomb. Not Ancient Tomb, Ancient Craving. That's going to allow us to cash in some card draw, or if we just want to get the tax going at this point. We've got Virtus. Yeah, I think we kind of like doing this. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. That's why we've got it in here. We're going to be able to... Hey, he's not here, Virtus. I'm sorry. We're going to target ourselves, and we can just shuffle our library up if we want to. Yeah, sure, why not? Shuffle it up, click OK, and then pass it back over to our opponent. Yeah, that'll be good. So we're going to get Virtus down. The main thing with this is we just want to start swinging at our opponent, attacking our opponent's life total. If they don't have an answer right now for Virtus, most of these Jhoira decks, they're basically just kind of full throttle as far as casting a bunch of artifacts and trying to combo off. And so if we can start attacking our opponent's life total with Virtus, that sounds like a pretty good plan. Let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. Head over to the website, use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off anything off their website. So if you'd like to treat yourself and you haven't treated yourself in a long time, make sure that you do. It'll help yourself out and help the channel out at the same time. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name at the beginning or the end of the credits or both to help support cool content like this. And if you can't do that, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. So, it's officially free time. And it is officially clobbering time. So, Briber's Purse, put X gem counters on it. Can't attack or block. All right, so we've got a little bit of a... they could use the Briber's Purse on old Virtus over here. I think we might end up forcing them to do that. So, that's going to be... Yeah, let's do that. So, let's go and push in with... since they don't have a creature down, we're going to wait for them to use that Briber's Purse. And then next turn, not next turn, but the second main phase, we might end up going for Worn Power Stone or Ancient Craving. All right, so they're going to tap down Virtus. That's perfectly fine. Can't attack or block. He's going to cool his pickaxe jet for a second. And that's going to be Worn Power Stone, 1, 2, 3. That'll keep us open on Mox Opal. Yeah, let's do that. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's going to be Chrome Mox. It's going to enter the battlefield. That's going to give us 2 total mana. Let's go for Cover of Darkness. And we're going to be able to name... Azra, I think that would be good. Yeah, because I know for sure opponent's not going to have. Yeah, and we have no other assassins in here, so we're just going to name Azra. And so that way they're going to make sure that it's going to have fear, and it's going to be really hard for our opponent to stop Virtus swinging in for next turn. So anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. Now, as far as any, if you haven't seen this deck before, let me kind of explain it. In 1 versus 1 Commander on Magic Online, which is what I'm recording these videos in, the partner ability is banned. You can't have partners in 1v1 Magic Online, simply because, and it never really made, I mean, not made sense to me, but when it was explained to me, I read an article that basically just said that, you know, it's like having an extra card in your opening hand. I'm like, oh yeah, that does make sense. So, and then plus with the partners, if you haven't played 1v1 Commander, whenever you play against Timna and I think Thrasios maybe, there's just a partner deck that is just 4-color control, and it is just not fun to play against. And it just kind of, not that there's anything wrong, you know, because a lot of these 1v1 Commander decks are like playing like a Legacy Light deck, but especially when you have those partners, it just really turns into like a, basically it's just Canadian Highlander. It's just like a 100 card singleton format control deck. So, you know, with Virtus, we have cards like Cover of Darkness that really fit on theme, even though it is kind of like that. But yeah, with the partner abilities, it was not a lot of fun. So our opponent did tap down on mana. They dug into their library, so we're gonna have an open Briber's Purse, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we've got a one shot. Let's go for it. We're gonna have fear, and this is one of those decks where you've gotta jam it if you can jam it. So we're gonna go and swing in with Virtus. It's gonna have fear from Cover of Darkness. Oh, look at this. This is just, yeah, that wound reflection. I think we've got it. All right, so we're gonna swing in at Jhoira. They're gonna lose half their life total. That's gonna put them all the way down to 14. Oh, look at this. Let's go for wound reflection. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. If our opponent's got counter magic, they've got it. We're going to go for wound reflection. Beginning of each opponent's end step, they lose life equal to the amount of life they lost this turn. They've lost 50. Our opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. There we go. All right, so sometimes you end up with quick games with Virtus. It's always not this clean sometimes. You know, our opponent did tap down. They didn't leave Briber's Purse open, so Virtus said, all right, let me come give you a quick little bonk on the head, Jhoira, and that's going to allow us to close it out. So if you're not sure how this interaction works, they've lost half their life, and then when we get down wound reflection, once we pass the, we go to the end step, which is the next step in the turn order, they're going to lose life to the amount of life they lost, and that's going to be a one-hit KO with Virtus. So there we go. A little bit of kind of a, not necessarily combo, but a little bit more of a synergy win. But either way, it still feels good. So if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Virtus the Veiled. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got, yeah, this is not a very good hand. So let's go and mulligan on this one. Mana Crypt into, yeah, just Mana Crypt and Read the Bones. We're going to put these 3 cards together, and that sounds great. Then the rest of our hand is absolutely wonderful. So I guess at this point, we'll probably put Defile on the bottom, simply because we already have like the replacement effect of a Vendetta. So we'll put Defile on the bottom, click Done, and we are actually on the play. Let's go for it. Let's have some fun. Let's go Mana Crypt, and let's go for Read the Bones. And we're really going to set the tone for this game. Let them know Virtus is, he's chomping at the bit. Swiftfoot Boots, yeah, we're going to put both of these on top. That's pretty much what we want to see. An extra land and some protection for Virtus. So, kick it back over to our opponent. We're playing Virtus the Veiled. Mr. Virtus Vex himself. It's clobbering time if you're keeping score at home. Partner with Gorm, but he's not here. Virtus is going to get it done by himself. Death Touch. Whenever Virtus deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life. Oh, look at our opponent there. They got off the Mana Crypt start too. Play against Jhoira, and I'll cover Jhoira in just a second. So I think what we're going to do is we definitely want to hold up Vendetta mana for Jhoira, because we want to stop that extra card draw from our opponents. So let's go ahead and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. Lost the flip. We were 0 for 1 on those. And then, ooh, and then we hit Hedron Archive. Yeah, we can't pass up on that. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at these affinity starts from both of us. I'm loving it. Let's have Hedron Archive come down, and we'll go for Swiftfoot Boots. That's going to be 1, 2. And I just love the thought of playing against Jhoira, where we kind of have this like Storm, Cheerios, artifact style deck. We've got this mono black, just pickaxe deck where we're trying to one-hit KO them in one turn. I love it. But yeah, we're playing against Jhoira, and depending on how I splice the videos together, you've probably already heard me read this, but as I record a video, I always do my standardized, you know, production schedule through a video. So here we are. if you're keeping score at home, you can just mark the box twice that we covered Commander. So we're playing against Jhoira. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card, and then a historic spell is going to be an artifact, legendary, or a saga. And they're going to start kind of churning through some of their stuff. So we do need to, yeah, I'll probably end up going Vendetta. Well, actually, if we want to do a little bit of a, not necessarily a slow start. So what we can do is we can go for Toxic Deluge for 3. That's going to get rid of Jhoira. That's going to keep her off the battlefield because we need to make sure that our opponent's not drawing a bunch of cards. And so, because they've already kind of busted open that right now, you can see how good Jhoira can be when you're being able to draw a lot of cards. So what we'll probably try to do is end up going for Toxic Deluge because that'll get rid of Jhoira, and then that'll still keep us open on Vendetta. And once that does end up happening, that'll at least allow us to kind of get that commander tax going back on Jhoira. And then if we need to hit the reset button, we certainly can. So, all right, but it's going to get the Urza's Bauble card draw. Be able to cash in an extra card draw. And then let's go for the Mana Crypt trigger. Let's go and choose Tails on this one. On the flip, we are 1 for 2 on those triggers. And we run into Imperial Seal. So, yeah, let's... Oh, yeah, because we only have 2 black manas. But yeah, let's still end up going for Toxic Deluge. That's going to be 1, 2... We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because that's going to be just enough. And they can sacrifice, but Jhoira is not an artifact creature. So we're going to pay X life. And then we could Imperial Seal, but like you saw how much card draw our opponent got simply just casting their 0 artifacts. So we're going to leave up Vendetta and pass it back over to our opponent. Would have loved to go for Imperial Seal, but we need to make sure that we just don't die to some sort of weird storm combo because well... It's been a long time since I've played Jhoira. I can't remember exactly how I've got mine set up. I'm pretty sure it's just cast a bunch of cards and then find Aether Flux Reservoir. And so, especially with us being in mono black doesn't really deal with artifacts that well. And by not that well, it's like basically 0. So, so our main thing is we're going to need to keep the enabler off the battlefield, and that enabler is going to be Jhoira because she likes to get a lot of card draw. She gets really excited when an historic card enters the battlefield. She starts clapping her hands and says, "Ooh, ooh." Draw a card. So we're going to try to keep her off the battlefield. We'll see what they're casting at this point right now. Thankfully, we do have Imperial Seal, so if it is either Jhoira, we're going to be able to go from Vendetta. If it's something that we don't want to deal with, then we have Imperial Seal. Ooh. Yeah, this is what makes the deck so brutal. Is you just get down Paradoxical Outcome, and you can just return all these artifacts back to your hand. They either cost 1 or 0, so you're being able to cycle through a bunch of cards. So I'm not going to cycle through this stuff, but if they're going to be casting a lot of stuff, what I'll probably do is jump into commentary once. All right, so we're going to see Jhoira come down. So we're going to wait for them to get 1 artifact on the stack, and then we're going to go Vendetta on Jhoira. There we go. All right, send her back to the command zone, and that's going to be an Everflowing Chalice for 0, which is pretty nice. You know, they could have sequenced it to where they got a few more artifacts down, but at least we're able to stop that. Yeah, because we can actually Imperial Seal for a piece of removal, and we'd almost have to find Defile, but we only got 2 because Jhoira is going to be 3 total. So let's see what we draw into. If we hit a swamp, we can potentially go for Defile again, but we also still have the Virtus line of play that we can go for too. Jhoira's commander tax 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has been shifted up to 8. So we'll see if we can, if they hit the land drop, they'll definitely be able to cast Jhoira, but we'll see what else we can get going. So let's go and choose Tails on this one. But if we hit a swamp, then we might need to leave up another piece of spot removal. So there we go. Lost a flip. That's going to put us down to 16. Okay, so we do have that line of play that I mentioned. So we end up going Imperial Seal. That's going to put it on top. We put a Defile on top. That's going to be -3, -3. And then we sacrifice Hedron Archive. I'd almost rather just try to get in for a 1-hit KO with Virtus and just kind of pray that they don't, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be enough for Wind Reflection. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to go for Virtus. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. We're kind of going shields down on our side in hopes that they're not going to be able to combo off. Hey, he's not in here. I'm sorry. It's not Gorm's not in here. I wanted to call Gorm Grom for a very long time, and I know it drove a few people nuts. Totally understand it. Let's go for let's get the old Swiftfoot boots equipped onto Virtus, And will actually kind of represent some sort of black mana, at least at this point right now. Let's go Imperial Seal, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we will be digging for Wound Reflection, because that's going to be at least a one-hit KO next turn. But, oh, we have to find some sort of unblockable. Yeah, I still kind of like hitting up Wound Reflection. All right, so it's going to go on top of our library. Let's go ahead and swing in for 1 with Virtus. We're going to pop our opponent's life total. The good thing about this is even if they are going for a paradoxical outcome, if they're going for Aether Flux Reservoir win, at least knocking down half their life with Virtus is a pretty good feeling. So, and then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. But yeah, with Virtus, this deck, if you haven't seen it before, go to, there's a playlist. It should be in the playlist. So you can find the playlist or just type in Virtus Jolt, and you'll be able to find the playlist. Pretty much the core concept of this deck is it's almost like a mono black improvised deck. Once we get down, because there's a lot of Voltron pieces in here, we don't necessarily have, I think we've got Sword of Feast and Famine and Sword of Sinew and Steel. And so that's kind of, that sword allows us to deal with some artifacts. But the main part that we're trying to do with this deck is just get a lot of mana out very quickly, and then try to end up going for either Virtus with Wound Reflection, or we can actually reanimate with Archfiend of Despair. And with Archfiend of Despair, it's basically the same effect. So you actually end up in this position to where we can Entomb on Archfiend and then bring it back with Reanimate. So there's a couple different ways that you can kind of quote-unquote combo off with the deck. It's really just more of a one-hit KO synergy style effect. And if our opponent's digging right now for a creature, this feels pretty good. Hopefully we can get down Wound Reflection and close it out again. I know it kind of feels like a cheap win, but oh man, it feels good being able to have this happen. All right, so our opponent does find a creature. We do have Wound Reflection on top of our library. So let's see if we can somehow... So we Damnation. That's going to be 3 damage. Just going to choose Tails on this one. Lost the flip. That's going to put us down to 11. Okay. And they have their own Mana Crypt trigger. So we've got something interesting. Yeah, Virtus does have Death Touch. And I think we just kind of force the issue. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if they end up whiffing on their trigger, on their Mana Crypt trigger, that's at least going to be 6 damage next turn. We can at least get rid of 1 creature. Let's go and swing in, and then hopefully that'll allow us next turn to find something. So, because with Wound Reflection, we can just really amplify this Mana Crypt trigger. And I don't think no, they do have a -2 from Duretti, but at least we'll get 1 more trigger happening up there. So, let's go and swing in at our opponent. At least want to force some sort of block from one of our, probably see the Ornithopter block more than likely. They do have Welding Jar they can go for, but we'll see what's happening. So there we go. We're going to trade with Pillapalla, and then we'll get rid of her. We can always recast Virtus and send it back. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So let's keep our fingers crossed that they are going to whiff on this Mana Crypt trigger. Let's see, because that's going to be... let's go. Oh, yeah, they lost the flip. They go to 7. So there's going to be another 3 at the end of the turn. That's going to put them down to 4. And now we do have, like I mentioned, this is kind of a mono-black artifact-style deck. We have some improvise in here. One thing that we do have, since we're trying to ramp as quickly as possible, is we have a lot of X spells. So we have Exsanguinate in here. We have Consume Spirit. We have Damnable Pact. We have Torment of Hellfire. So we've got a lot of options that allow us to really kind of attack our opponent's life total, almost like in a burn style effect, except we're just trying to tap out all of our mana. So if we rip into one of those, we can just straight up go for it, because they're at least looking for another 3 from Mana Crypt, even if they sacrifice it with Duretti. Now, even if they don't sacrifice it with Duretti, if they don't see that line of play, then next turn we'll be able to maybe get lucky on a coin flip, because... Okay, so Wound Reflect, what just happened? Return all artifacts to their owner's hands. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, they're going to be able to recast some stuff. So at this point, let's see if they're going to combo off, and then I'll jump into any sort of, commentary if something's going to happen. Okay, looks like our opponent's passing the turn, so that does put them down to 4, and then we rip into Rogue's Passage. So, yeah, they just kind of cycle through some stuff with Videlic and Archmage, and so we're going to hope they might combo off, maybe? Yeah, I guess at this point we just end up ripping a Damnation, because that's really going to set them back on being able to cash in card draw. I think that's good. So let's have Mana Crypt come down. That's going to be 1, 2. And then we can rebuild Hedron Archive. Yeah, I like that. So we go Hedron Archive, then this still gives us just enough mana to go for Damnation. So this can be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we do, we can potentially lose to a Storm next turn, but at least dealing with Videlic and Archmage is going to make a huge difference. So let's see if they get unlucky on this Mana Crypt trigger. Let's see if they lose the flip. Oh, okay, so they stay at 4. Okay, so we're going to have to wait. So once again, if they're going to try to combo off this turn, I'm going to let them go through this turn, and then we'll jump into commentary. And our opponent's going to end up casting Jhoira. They do have 1, 2, 1, 2, and then basically, yeah, I think 3 mana with the Mox Diamond. So we'll see if they're going to be able to generate any sort of, if they have some more 0 artifacts, that'll definitely be some more card draw for them. Okay, so they're going to pass the turn again. There goes Wound Reflection. I just love what this game's turned into. We're going to choose Tails on this one. Lost the Flip is going to put us down to 8. Ooh, and then we rip into Stunning Reversal. Okay. Okay, so let's get Virtus pop back up. Let's have Swiftfoot Boots come out because we need to save at least 4 mana. Yeah, might as well just go and go for Swiftfoot Boots. So we have Swiftfoot Boots enter the battlefield. And then if we end up going for, because next turn, if we're going to go for Virtus, that'll be 5 mana, and we already have Boots down. All right, so let's just go and pass the turn. If our opponent's going to be able to combo off, they're going to have to do it next turn. And if that does end up happening, we'll at least have the game if they end up losing on this Mana Crypt trigger. So let's see. Come on. Let's see if they whiff on this Mana Crypt trigger. I've got the Mana Crypt trigger on the stack. Let's see if they lose it. Come on. Yes. That's going to put them down to 1. So they're going to have to combo off this turn. And even if they do combo off, they have something like Aether Flux Reservoir. We got Stunning Reversal. And it doesn't guarantee us the game, but it's going to feel really good if we can make this happen. So once again, if they're going to try to storm off, they're going to have to storm off because we have Wound Reflection. And that's going to clean up on the back end. And so let's see what they can assemble. Okay, so our opponent ends up going for Scrap Mastery, and then with Lattice on the battlefield, that turned everything into a artifact. So everything's been sacrificed. They're still at 1. I don't know if we can bounce back from this. So we're going to see what's going to happen. We'll see what they end up grabbing with Trophy Mage. The only downside is they were able to deal with the Wound Reflection. Once they turned it into an artifact, we had to sacrifice everything. That pretty much stopped it. So our opponent does have... They have Rings down, and they also have Monolith down. So I don't know what their payoff card is. Typically, I like to scoop to a combo if they've displayed the actual combo. So even though they generate a ton of mana, I don't know how they're actually going to win with that ton of mana. So at this point right now, once again, I'll jump back into commentary if there's something worthy to talk about. So. Okay, so I've been sitting here for about 10 minutes, and our opponent's just tapping a bunch of mana. They ended up going for Urza's Bauble, and then look at a random card in target player's hand. That's going to be obviously Stunning Reversal. I'm going to go and scoop it up simply just because I've got more videos to record today, and they're just going through this kind of same little loop. They might be able to win. I'm just going to go ahead and toss it over to them, simply for the fact that they're going to have Trophy Mage coming down. Coming across, and so it's just I only have X amount of time to record with, and if this is some sort of infinite combo, I don't know what they're doing, but I sat here for about 10 minutes, and like I said, I've got some more videos to record. So good game to our opponent. I think they're probably going to get it on that one, especially once they've destroyed all of our lands, and simply just having a Trophy Mage clock for 4 turns probably would have closed it out going from there. So anyway, enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.